also something I've come to find, that the camera is an amazing tool. And I've been using it for a very, very long time. Starting when I lived in San Francisco, I guess in 2006 I began using the camera. And when I started doing that, and I want to get back into that a little bit again. Just using the camera, turning it on, and just streaming consciousness, just sharing awareness, just being present, which I also come to find is rather important, but also it's lacking in this world. I think it's also part of our programming where we always think about what we want to say, we evaluate what the other person is saying, we always think about how we want to respond to that, and so that actually keeps us from being present. And that's really an important point to be in, or an important space to be in, coming back to the idea that time is space, and the now is all there is. Yeah, again, there are many people who talk about that. Definitely I'm not the first one to do that, but what does it mean really? So how does it change our life if we not just realize that the now is all there is and that it's a matter of being present and love is the way? But what does that mean really? How does it change our life? And not only how does it change our life? How does it change the way we live our life? That's really something important to think about that. Because I think also when we talk about change, that is something that we all look for. Yeah, everybody wants change. But then changing how and changing what? What can we change? Well, again, it's also doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that the only thing we really can change is ourselves. But then also it's pretty apparent that growing up is a matter of, we go through the motions, we become a certain way, and then we start changing. We stop changing. And then we look for change. Look for change in terms of better job, more fun, more happiness, more excitement, more success, more love, all of that. We look for it, and so change is something that, even though we also know that change is the only constant in life, everything does change. But then also I've noticed a long time ago that as we go through the motions of life, we eventually stop changing. And again, I'm not just pointing it out in others or in the world, as I look at the world, that people do not change. I see that also in myself, which is really, that's where I have learned. And that's actually the only way you learn, from your own experiences and learning about yourself. In order to realize yourself, in order to then manifest yourself in the world and become who you really are. To be real, that is actually what I'm pointing to here. I'm trying to point to with realize to actualize. But again, try to not misunderstand me here. This is something that I've just become aware of. I've learned that, I realize that for myself. But it's also something I'm working on, and I realize how difficult that is. But I've also come to find if you put yourself out there with your own challenges, your own difficulties, and you're honest about it, you will also find that there are other people who are going through similar challenges. You're not alone. This is, the human experience. We all share it. Even though we are so seemingly separate from one another, all struggling side by side to find whatever it is we're looking for. But, what is life really all about? That is a question I always asked myself as a child. What's really the purpose of life? Why am I here? Why am I me and not somebody else? What makes me uniquely me? Which, I don't know, maybe you can relate to that. Because growing up is more like a matter of don't be who you are. Don't follow your instincts or your inner urges, which actually would make you you. Your real thoughts, your real feelings, your real emotions. But, I always thought it's interesting that these things actually that make us unique are suppressed as we grow up in this world. Because, we are required to be like everyone else and to just function. And that's something I always question. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you also question it as a child. Maybe you still question that. And maybe you still try to understand really what can I do here? What is my purpose? How can I really begin on the process to unfold and develop myself? And that really got me thinking when I came across that in the mid-90s, shortly after I moved from Germany to America and my life changed drastically as soon as I moved over here. And a couple of months later I got married and I became part of a whole new culture and ethnicity, and well, it was very difficult. Actually, it stimulated something really bad in me. I didn't know how to deal with that situation. And around that time, in the mid-90s, I came across the idea of personal development. That's, wow, the idea to work on yourself and to develop yourself is rather revolutionary to me. Very new, never heard of anything like this before. And while I conceptually understood the importance of that, and I really agreed with all of that, and I became really interested to study more and more and to learn more, but the only reason was that really I wanted to, that's the area I wanted to work in life later on. But I didn't understand how this applied to me. And that's really where it all begins. To develop yourself, to change yourself. Because as you do that, as you change yourself, you change this world. But knowing that is one thing. To do that, to put that into practice is a totally different story. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that again. Maybe remind you a little bit of that. But definitely, first and foremost, remind myself of that. The importance of really looking at that which is difficult for me, which I rather not look at. Which is also something, rather important, but rather simple actually. Apparent, obvious, that it's really a matter of getting in touch with our nature. And that we all have a nature, and nature connects all of us. But that we have become disconnected from nature and controlled one another and taken all the resources is also something very obvious. So I really think it's a matter of reconnecting ourselves to that which connects all of us. And that is that symbol that I found many, many years ago, and when I saw that right away, it dawned on me that this is, more than just like a tree that looks like a dancer. This is to me symbolic of our nature, which connects us to everything. And this is our nature which brings us into this world. The nature we have been disconnected from as we got engaged in the struggle to survive and to compete against one another and to move ahead. But this is not really who we are. This has become our socially conditioned self, our unnatural self. And so I want to, myself, that's where I need to begin, to lead the way, to get back to that, to be more natural, to be more authentic, to not be afraid, because that's really what opposes all the greatness, all the beauty, all the creativity that lies in me. And also that's how it is for you and every human being in this world.